The air shifts almost imperceptibly when the heart begins to question its own silence. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts to think positively, visualize your dreams, and repeat affirmations, something still feels locked deep within you? It's not failure, it's dissonance. The frequency that governs your reality is not merely an abstract vibration. It is the emotional pulse that animates your thoughts and gives them permission to become form. Every unspoken fear, every suppressed desire, every act of self-denial sends signals that contradict your intentions. And the universe, ever faithful to resonance, responds not to what you say you want, but to what you actually embody. In this introduction, we step into the threshold between the seen and the unseen, where the science of coherence meets the mysticism of creation. This isn't about mastering tricks to manipulate reality. It's about remembering the language through which reality communicates with you. When you alter your emotional state, when you stabilize your nervous system in calm expectation, the field around you reorganizes to reflect that harmony. Dr. Joe Dispenza often reminds us that the brain records the past, but the heart holds the signal of the future. By learning to broadcast from the heart instead of replaying from memory, you open gateways to probabilities that have been waiting for your permission to exist. This journey will not rush you. It invites presence, curiosity, and surrender. Over the coming chapters, you will discover how your thoughts sculpt the electromagnetic field that surrounds you, how gratitude rewires the chemistry of receptivity, and how silence becomes the most articulate prayer. Each section is a mirror, reflecting both the patterns that keep you confined and the pathways that lead you into liberation. Stay here, breathe. Listen not for grand revelations, but for the subtle rearrangement inside you as you read. The transformation has already begun. The first truth that must settle within you is that manifestation is not about forcing the universe to deliver what you desire. It is about remembering that you are already participating in its constant creation. The universe is not external. It is a field of awareness responding to your internal coherence. Every emotion, every thought, every unspoken belief becomes a ripple in this infinite ocean of energy, forming patterns that return to you in the shape of experiences. When your inner state vibrates in harmony with gratitude and faith, rather than anxiety and lack, the external begins to mirror that harmony back to you. This isn't philosophy, it's alignment. And alignment is the bridge between thought and matter, but alignment requires honesty. Many people approach manifestation with a dual voice, one that declares abundance aloud and another, quieter, that whispers fear beneath the surface. The heart senses this contradiction long before the mind can rationalize it. To master the quantum frequency that shapes reality, you must learn to listen to that whisper, not to silence it, but to understand it. Fear is not the enemy of creation. It is the signal that energy is ready to be reclaimed. Beneath fear hides unintegrated emotion, grief, guilt, shame, each holding a fragment of your creative power. The process of manifestation is not about pretending those emotions don't exist. It is about bringing them home, allowing them to dissolve in awareness, until your energy no longer fractures between past and possibility. In this space of restored wholeness, desire changes its texture. It no longer comes from scarcity but from inspiration. You are no longer asking the universe for something to fill an absence. You are inviting it to amplify what is already abundant within you. This shift from need to coherence is subtle but decisive. When you want something because you believe it will make you complete, you create from lack. But when you desire because you are already whole, your energy becomes a song that the universe instantly recognizes. You are no longer begging for a response. You are participating in the symphony itself. The bridge between wanting and becoming is awareness. Every manifestation process begins with consciousness expanding beyond habit. Your nervous system has been trained by years of repetition to expect certain outcomes. It identifies safety with the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. To move beyond those cycles, you must teach your body that safety exists in the unknown. This is where emotion and physiology meet the metaphysical. When you sit in stillness and breathe into your heart, you are not performing a ritual for comfort. You are reprogramming biological signals. The brain begins to release chemicals that align thought with calm anticipation. The heart's electromagnetic field expands, synchronizing with patterns of order and gratitude. What follows is not coincidence. It is coherence. The most transformative manifestations often occur not after intense visualizations, but after surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means ceasing to fight against the rhythm of life. The universe operates in waves. When you resist, you create turbulence. But when you relax into trust, the current carries you naturally toward what belongs to you. Trust is the highest frequency of manifestation because it is born from unity. The moment you stop demanding outcomes, you affirm that you are already supported. This sense of support recalibrates your perception, allowing you to notice opportunities that were invisible while you were anxious. Still, the modern mind struggles with this concept because it equates control with safety. Yet true safety comes from inner stability, not external certainty. You can learn to anchor yourself in this stability through deliberate presence. When you wake up each morning, before checking your phone, pause for a single breath and recall one moment from your life that made you feel completely alive. Feel that memory, not as nostalgia, but as a signal of what your energy feels like when it is in alignment. Carry that resonance into your morning rituals, into your work, into your interactions. The repetition of this simple act retrains your body to prioritize coherence over chaos. It is a spiritual practice disguised as mindfulness, and it rewires your electromagnetic signature more powerfully than endless affirmations spoken without feeling. Those who live in coherence begin to notice subtle changes. Synchronicities align, conversations shift, possibilities multiply. It's not that the universe suddenly favors them, it's that they have become receptive to what was always available. The field of infinite potential does not choose, it reflects. When your signal becomes clear, reality reorganizes itself effortlessly around it. This is why spiritual masters emphasize presence. The present moment is the only portal through which creation can occur. Every thought projected into the future or anchored in the past weakens your current frequency. Presence concentrates your power. It is the point where all timelines converge into manifestation. As you deepen this practice, remember that the goal is not perfection, but connection. There will be days when your vibration wavers, when fear resurfaces, when doubt knocks at the edges of your certainty. In those moments, compassion must replace judgment. Each emotional fluctuation is an invitation to return, not a sign of failure. Think of your energy like a pendulum. Every swing away from balance is also the momentum that brings you back. If you meet your imbalance with awareness rather than resistance, it becomes part of the rhythm rather than an interruption of it. At its core, mastering the quantum frequency is an act of remembrance. You are remembering what your soul has always known, that you are both observer and creator, both wave and particle, both human and divine. The separation you once felt between your desires and your reality was never more than an illusion of timing. Everything you have asked for already exists in potential, waiting for your alignment to make it visible. The practice is not about learning new powers. It is about removing the noise that has made you forget your own. When you approach life from this understanding, manifestation becomes an expression of love rather than strategy. You no longer chase outcomes, you cultivate resonance. You begin to see that the external world bends not to your will, but to your willingness to be present, grateful, and aware. That is the essence of the quantum frequency, a silent agreement between your inner world and the infinite field that holds it. The life you visualize is not somewhere in the future. It is vibrating here, now, just beyond the threshold of disbelief. All it asks is that you tune in. There is a moment, often unnoticed, when energy precedes every thought. It is the pause before the mind begins its usual narration, the space where potential waits to become form. Within this stillness lies the secret to alignment. To master manifestation is to inhabit that moment consciously, to become aware of what you are transmitting before it crystallizes into reality. Most people attempt to change their lives by rearranging external conditions, but true transformation begins with the quiet, consistent tuning of energy. You cannot align with abundance while vibrating in anxiety, just as a radio cannot receive a clear signal while surrounded by static. Alignment is not about control, it is about resonance. Resonance occurs when your internal state vibrates in harmony with the frequency of what you desire. It's the point where thought and feeling converge into coherence. Many spiritual teachers speak of this, yet few describe the emotional discipline it requires. Alignment is not the constant pursuit of happiness. It is the courageous willingness to feel deeply without becoming lost in feeling. To be aligned means to allow emotion to move through you, rather than letting it define you. It is emotional fluency, not suppression. When fear arises, you acknowledge it as movement, not as truth. When doubt whispers, you hear it but do not anchor in it. Energy obeys awareness, and awareness transforms vibration. Understanding this gives birth to a new way of living. Each day becomes an act of calibration rather than struggle. The morning no longer begins with urgency, but with attunement. You become conscious of your first thoughts, noticing whether they stem from love or from habit. Gradually, you begin to design your day from the inside out. Small rituals, drinking water mindfully, breathing before speech, pausing before decisions, become powerful signals to the quantum field. They tell the universe that you are participating, not pleading. This is the subtle art of energetic integrity. Your words, actions, and inner frequency begin to match. When coherence settles within you, the mind stops chasing proof. This is one of the greatest signs of alignment, the quiet confidence that no longer seeks validation. Incoherence, on the other hand, is restless. It demands evidence, guarantees, constant reassurance. But the aligned being understands that evidence is the final echo of energy, not its source. You stop asking when your manifestation will come because you can already feel it resonating within you. The paradox of alignment is that when you no longer crave the outcome has permission to arrive. Science, in its own language, has begun to describe this phenomenon. Studies on heart-brain coherence reveal that emotions such as gratitude, compassion, and appreciation synchronize biological rhythms. When this happens, the electromagnetic field of the heart expands, influencing not only your physiology, but the environment around you. Ancient mystics knew this intuitively. Modern research confirms it empirically. The field responds to coherence. Therefore, to align your energy is to communicate fluently with the language of creation itself. Each coherent emotion becomes a signature that the universe recognizes instantly. Alignment also changes your relationship with time. The ordinary mind perceives time as linear, past, present, future, but in energetic reality these dimensions overlap. The emotion you hold now resonates with potential futures of similar vibration. When you choose to embody peace, you are not waiting for a peaceful future. You are summoning it into the present. This is why gratitude is so potent. It collapses the distance between what you wish for and what you experience. You feel thankful not because you have received, but because you are aligned with the state of already having. The universe mirrors that vibration by rearranging circumstances accordingly. There is tenderness in this practice. Alignment does not demand perfection, it invites gentleness. You will fall out of resonance, and that is part of the rhythm. Each misalignment teaches you the texture of harmony by contrast. The key is not to condemn yourself for these fluctuations, but to return consciously. Return to the breath, to the body, to the awareness that you are both energy and vessel. The path to sustained manifestation is paved not with force, but with returning again and again to your natural state of balance. The deeper you go into this work, the more you realize that alignment is not achieved once, it is cultivated daily. It is a relationship with your own energy, a conversation between your human longing and your divine potential. Some days that dialogue will feel like music, others it will feel like silence. But even in silence, something within you continues to hum with life. The frequency of alignment does not vanish, it waits for your listening. Eventually, this practice alters your identity. You stop identifying as someone trying to manifest and begin to experience yourself as consciousness, expressing through form. You understand that what you truly manifest is not objects, relationships, or status. It is states of being, abundance, love, peace. These are not things to acquire, they are vibrations to inhabit. And when you inhabit them long enough, the physical world harmonizes in response. This realization transforms manifestation from an external pursuit into an inner devotion. In this state, even challenges become collaborators. Resistance, delay, or uncertainty no longer appear as punishment, but as calibration points. They show you where your energy still contradicts your vision. Each difficulty becomes an invitation to refine your signal, to stand more firmly in trust. In time, you come to see that alignment is not about escaping life's contrasts, but dancing with them gracefully. The waves of experience will continue, but your internal ocean remains calm. When you finally understand alignment as the language of creation, you begin to live differently. You move slower, listen deeper, and respond rather than react. You start to feel the texture of energy before words are spoken. Conversations become harmonies. Decisions feel guided rather than forced. You discover that the universe was never withholding anything. It was simply waiting for you to sing in tune. The art of energetic alignment, then, is the practice of remembering your original melody and allowing it to lead your every step. Somewhere between the pulse of your heartbeat and the rhythm of your breath, there exists a quiet intelligence that organizes life itself. It is not the mind, though the mind can sense it. It is not emotion, though emotion often carries its message. This intelligence, the subtle vibration of consciousness, operates through frequency. Every living being emits a frequency, and that frequency communicates with the field of all possibilities. The science of inner frequency, therefore, is not about mystical abstraction. It is the recognition that your internal coherence determines how reality arranges itself around you. When you feel disconnected, it is not because life has stopped responding to you. It is because your signal has become fragmented. Thoughts race ahead of emotion. Desire pulls in one direction while fear pulls in another. The field simply mirrors that confusion, returning experiences that appear chaotic. To restore harmony, you must return to the simplicity of inner rhythm. This is not achieved by effort, but by awareness. Awareness is the conductor of the inner orchestra. When it listens, everything falls into tune. Modern science, though cautious in language, has begun to approach this understanding. Quantum theory suggests that the observer influences the observed, that particles behave differently when consciousness is directed toward them. Neuroscience shows that emotional states shift the brain's electrical patterns, influencing perception and decision-making. HeartMath research reveals that emotions such as gratitude and compassion create measurable coherence between the heart and the brain. Each of these discoveries, when stripped of complexity, points to the same truth. The quality of your inner frequency shapes the quality of your outer world. But beyond science lies experience, and experience is where truth becomes tangible. Imagine a day when everything seems to flow, conversations align, timing feels perfect, and even small tasks carry a quiet ease. That sensation is coherence. It occurs when your energy is in resonance with life's current. Nothing external may have changed, yet your perception shifts so dramatically that the entire world feels more vivid. The same principle applies in reverse. When your energy contracts in fear or resentment, life appears dense and unyielding. The outer world has not betrayed you. It has simply tuned itself to your current vibration. Understanding this gives you both humility and power. Humility, because it reminds you that life is not a mechanical process you can dominate. Power, because it reveals that you are never a victim of circumstance. You are a participant in creation. This dual awareness births responsibility. To maintain a frequency that aligns with your deepest intentions. The journey of manifestation is not about manipulating outcomes, but about sustaining inner harmony long enough for those outcomes to crystallize naturally. There is an important distinction here between forced positivity and authentic frequency. Forced positivity is the mask of the fearful mind. It repeats affirmations to hide anxiety. Authentic frequency emerges from emotional integration. It does not deny pain but transforms it. When grief is acknowledged, it softens into wisdom. When anger is expressed with awareness, it reveals boundaries. When fear is embraced, it becomes sensitivity. Each emotion, once accepted, contributes to the symphony of coherence. This is why emotional maturity is essential to spiritual manifestation. The body becomes the instrument through which the universe plays its melody, and each reconciled emotion adds richness to the sound. To refine your inner frequency, you must cultivate stillness, not as an escape, but as a meeting place with yourself. In stillness, the static of thought quiets, and the subtle hum of being becomes audible. You begin to sense your natural rhythm, the pulse that existed long before conditioning and expectation. From this awareness, new insights arise spontaneously. You realize that intuition is not mysterious at all. It is the mind listening to energy rather than language. It speaks through sensations, a warmth in the chest, a softening of the breath, a sudden calm certainty. The more you trust these signals, the clearer your frequency becomes. In time, stillness matures into presence, and presence becomes power. You notice that even in chaos, you can remain centered. The world may fluctuate, yet your vibration holds steady. People begin to respond differently to you, not because you have changed your words, but because your energy now carries consistency. Consistency is magnetism. It communicates safety, integrity, and trust. The universe responds in kind, arranging events that mirror that steadiness. Opportunities unfold not through chase but through correspondence. This is the science of inner frequency in its most human expression. It teaches that your nervous system is a bridge between the infinite and the tangible. When your breath slows, when gratitude softens your chest, when your mind releases resistance, the bridge opens. Energy flows freely from potential to form. The quantum field is not far away. It begins at the edges of your awareness. Ultimately, mastering inner frequency is not about perfection, but intimacy. It asks you to be deeply familiar with your own energy, to sense when it expands or contracts, to care for it as you would for something sacred. Each moment of attention refines your signal. Each act of compassion strengthens your current. Eventually, you no longer need to chase alignment. You become it. You live in tune with life's rhythm, breathing with the same cadence as creation itself. In that state, manifestation ceases to be a goal and becomes a side effect of presence. The life you once visualized stops appearing as a distant dream and starts unfolding as a natural extension of who you are. You realize that the universe was never testing you. It was waiting for your song to match its own. And when it finally does, everything you've ever sought recognizes you by sound alone. There is a fine and invisible thread that connects what you think with what you live. It weaves quietly between imagination and matter, joining every conscious intention to the tangible world. This bridge between intention and reality is built not from effort, but from consistency of energy. Every thought becomes a signal, every emotion becomes a current, and together they shape the invisible architecture that your life eventually follows. The tragedy for most is that they attempt to cross this bridge with divided energy, declaring light but carrying shadows of disbelief. The art of manifestation lies in making both sides of yourself walk in the same direction. Intention is more than a wish. It is awareness with direction, a form of consciousness that carries purpose rather than hope. Hope looks outward, waiting for something to arrive. Intention looks inward, commanding the current to move. Yet for intention to translate into physical reality, it requires grounding. The grounding force is emotion, the frequency that gives weight to thought. A thought without emotion drifts into the field and dissolves. Emotion without clarity becomes turbulence. Only when thought and feeling fuse into one coherent vibration does the universe begin to respond. Every spiritual tradition echoes this principle through different languages. Prayer, mantra, affirmation, all are acts of alignment between mind and feeling. They are not negotiations with a distant God, but recalibrations of your own frequency. When you pray, it is not your words that travel outward. It is the energy carried within them that returns amplified. The field of creation listens not to language, but to resonance. Therefore, the true prayer is not please, but thank you. Gratitude assumes fulfillment. It declares completion in advance. This is the magnetic quality that collapses time and makes potential visible. But if intention is so powerful, why do so many struggle to manifest what they desire? The answer lies in unconscious interference. Beneath conscious thought, there are deeper programs, beliefs shaped by childhood, society, and repeated emotional experiences. These hidden scripts dictate what you believe you are allowed to receive. You may consciously visualize abundance, while unconsciously fearing judgment for having it. You may long for love, yet still associate intimacy with loss. The universe responds faithfully to your dominant vibration, not your spoken desires. Until you bring these patterns into awareness, they act as invisible weights on the bridge, keeping you anchored in the same place. To traverse this inner terrain, awareness must become compassion. You do not fight the old belief. You observe it with understanding until it loses strength. Resistance feeds the pattern, acknowledgement dissolves it. The mind heals through comprehension, the body heals through permission. When both align, energy flows without obstruction. This is the essence of transformation, not the destruction of the past, but its integration into a new frequency. The past ceases to repeat, not because you reject it, but because you have transcended its emotional charge. Once the emotional current clears, intention moves freely. You begin to notice how the smallest actions acquire new meaning. A decision made from alignment carries far more influence than 1,000 steps taken in confusion. This is where the bridge between inner and outer becomes tangible. Life starts echoing your inner clarity. Coincidences multiply. Conversations unfold at precise timing. Opportunities arise as though orchestrated by invisible design. This orchestration is not random. It is the universe responding to coherence. It's not that you have learned to control reality, it's that you have become fluent in its language. In this space, manifestation becomes less about strategy and more about rhythm. You start to live with an intuitive sense of timing, understanding that every creation follows a natural cycle: conception, gestation, emergence. Just as seeds do not bloom overnight, intentions mature in the soil of patience. When you rush the process, you disrupt its growth. When you trust its unfolding, you align with divine timing. Trust is not passive waiting, it is active faith, the ability to hold certainty even when evidence has not yet appeared. This is the vibration that bridges worlds, the quiet knowing that what you have envisioned is already real in the unseen. Over time, intention reshapes identity. The person who began this journey as a seeker becomes a participant in the cosmic dialogue. You no longer chase outcomes, you collaborate with the field. You sense which choices vibrate with truth and which do not. You feel when energy contracts around an idea, signaling misalignment, and when it expands, affirming direction. This sensitivity becomes your compass. The mind plans, but the energy decides. And when you follow energy rather than fear, your path unfolds with precision that intellect could never achieve. At the highest level, the bridge between intention and reality dissolves entirely. You realize that there was never a separation to begin with, only the illusion of distance created by disbelief. The outer world is simply your inner world, reflected back through time and matter. Every experience becomes feedback, showing you the current state of your vibration. You stop labeling events as good or bad, and begin to see them as mirrors, revealing where your energy stands. Through this understanding, life ceases to be a battlefield and becomes a conversation with consciousness itself. When you reach this understanding, you no longer strive to manifest, you embody manifestation. Your thoughts, words, and emotions align into a single current. You speak not from desire but from knowing. You move not to escape reality, but to express it. This is what it means to master the bridge between intention and reality, to realize that creation is not something you do, but something you are. And once you live from that awareness, reality no longer needs convincing. It simply responds. Everything you have explored until now leads to a single, unshakable truth. Manifestation is not an external practice. It is the natural consequence of alignment between your inner world and the universal field that surrounds you. The quantum frequency you've learned to access is not a distant phenomenon. It is the rhythm of your own consciousness, harmonizing with infinite intelligence. When your heart, your thoughts, and your actions begin to vibrate at the same resonance, life stops being random and starts becoming symphonic. The synchronicities, the opportunities, the moments of clarity, they are not coincidences. They are the music of coherence playing through your existence. To master manifestation is to remember that everything you seek already exists as potential within you. The moment you step beyond fear and into the quiet certainty of gratitude, the invisible bridge between desire and realization collapses. You no longer wait, you allow. You no longer chase, you attract. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to states of being. So the question is never, how do I get what I want? But rather, can I become the person who already has it? When you embody that energy, creation has no choice but to align with you. You now understand that life mirrors your vibration with exquisite precision. Every emotion is a message, every delay a lesson, every success a reflection of your inner order. The true mastery of this art lies not in controlling outcomes, but in living as consciousness in motion, aware, awake, and aligned. The path forward is not about learning more techniques, it is about deepening presence. When you exist in that awareness, you are not merely manifesting, you are co-creating reality itself. That is the ultimate transformation, to live as both the dreamer and the dream. Now take a deep breath and feel this question in your heart. Are you ready to live as the frequency of the life you've been dreaming of, instead of merely wishing for it? If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join our growing community of conscious creators. Stay with us until the end. There's another video waiting on the screen that continues this journey, guiding you even deeper into the art of transformation and alignment with the universe. Your next step is already unfolding. Watch it now and keep expanding your light.